Hey there! Today I'm showing you everything I ate in a busy week as a vegan. Wow, that's a lot of food. This week included everything from super lazy last-minute vegan meals to more ambitious dinners that I cooked for me and my husband. So sit back, relax, and let's get into breakfast. This morning I decided to make my blender protein waffles. So obviously I'm using my blender and I'm adding 2 cups of oats, 1 spotty banana, or maybe 2 spotty bananas. It just depends on how sweet you like it. Then I added in 2 tablespoons of unsweetened applesauce, and then about 6 tablespoons of complement protein powder, which is my all-time favorite, 1.5 cups of unsweetened almond milk, 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. This is what helps make it nice and fluffy, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of baking soda. Once I had all the ingredients in the blender, I just blended it up until it was a nice, smooth, thick consistency. After that, I just poured the batter into my waffle maker, spread it out so that it can get nice and crispy. Once it was crispy and golden, I just put it on my plate and then topped it with some bananas and some other fruit like blueberries and blackberries. I don't really like to eat my waffles with maple syrup, as weird as that may be. I just literally eat it plain by itself and it's so good. So I guess our waffles were more of like a brunch because we didn't have them until like 12 o'clock. We took the morning pretty slow, but now it's like 4 o'clock and I'm hungry, but I don't want something super heavy for lunch because we're gonna have dinner soon-ish. So I have this leftover sushi from last night that I'm just going to have a few pieces of with some tamari sauce and then some wasabi. All right, so in these little sushi rolls that I made last night, there's brown rice, and then I put in some tofu, edamame, carrots, red onions, zucchini, cucumbers, and green peppers. That's so good. Ooh, that wasabi is hitting me now. So then I got hungry for a little snack and I wanted some figs because I had just bought them at Trader Joe's, and figs are probably one of my favorite fruits right now. They literally taste so good and they're like absolutely beautiful, I think, in my opinion. Like when you bite into it, it's just nice and pink. So good. So for dinner, I decided to make some sun-dried tomato and broccolini pasta. I just kind of looked in my fridge and figured out what I wanted to make. I chopped all of the broccolini up. Then I just diced up an entire yellow onion. So then I went ahead and just boiled my pasta, and I like to use the chickpea pasta because it's gluten-free and it's full of protein. Then I just sauteed my onion and like 6 cloves of garlic because I love garlic. I sauteed that until it was nice and soft. Then I added in the broccolini. I decided that it needed a little bit of moisture and I wanted it to get a little more soft, so I added in some vegetable broth and covered it for just like a minute. I added in an entire bag of sun-dried tomatoes that I got from Trader Joe's. Then it needed some seasoning, so I added some chili flakes, garlic powder, onion powder, and then some salt and pepper. So I like to save my pasta water because this kind of becomes like my creamy sauce when I add it into the pasta at the end. So then I just drained my pasta and let it sit. Apparently you're not supposed to rinse the pasta, so don't do that. Then I added it back into all of the vegetables, stirred it around a little bit. I added in some of the pasta water. I didn't really measure this. I was just kind of winging it tonight. Then I did add in my vegan Parmesan cheese, like a lot of it, stirred it all together. And I think I actually added in some extra nutritional yeast as well. That was a super easy dinner and it looks absolutely amazing. It tasted delicious. This dish was one of me and my husband's absolute favorites of the week. For dessert, I had a leftover vegan cupcake that I made for when my sister was here because she loves cupcakes, and we had some left over and they're absolutely amazing. I started this morning off with some celery juice, so I literally just chopped up a bunch of celery, rinsed it off, and then I put it in my Vitamix blender, blend it all together until it's smooth, and then I put it in a nut milk straining bag, squeeze it all out until I have some celery juice. I love celery juice so much because it is super refreshing and I love to have it almost every morning. For breakfast, I decided to have a tofu scramble, and I'm trying to do it a little bit different this time than I've made it in the past. So I did press my tofu and then I began to chop up my vegetables. So I had some peppers, red onion, I chopped up some mushrooms, also had some green peppers that I chopped, and then I had a tomato left over from my CSA box and chopped that along with some fresh parsley. I also had a bunch of kale left over and I wanted to add in some greens. Then to a bowl, I added 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, half half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, about half a teaspoon of black salt, and this is what gives it its eggy taste, and then a little bit of pepper. I also added in 1 tablespoon of tahini to add some extra richness to the dish. I also added in a splash of soy milk. I don't really know how much I added, but just enough to make it like a nice liquidy mixture. So this is like the eggy sauce that gives it all of the flavor that makes it taste kind of like eggs. Then I crumbled my pressed tofu into small little pieces to resemble like scrambled eggs. I sauteed the mushrooms, onions, and peppers together in a skillet, and then I also added in a few cloves of garlic. So then I sauteed all of that together until it was soft. Then I added in my crumbled up tofu and I mixed it around for a second, and then I did let it sit for a couple minutes to get brown, and then I stirred it all back together again. Then I added in my little eggy sauce to give it lots of flavor, stirred that all together, make sure every piece was coated evenly, and then I added in the rest of the vegetables, the greens, and the tomatoes. And I made sure everything was nice and heated through, and you could serve this on a piece of toast or serve it in a breakfast burrito, but today I just ate mine plain and put it in a bowl, added some avocado to it, and then drizzled on some sriracha for some heat. Oh, also added more parsley to the top. It was so good. So along with breakfast every morning, I like to take my complement vitamins, which is B12, D3, DHA, EPA, and K2. All right, so for lunch today, I don't really know what I'm gonna eat. We just got back from Costco, and it's like kind of late, and I'm not like super hungry, but I know I should eat something. I feel like I'll probably just have like a hodgepodge of a bunch of different like vegetables and like beans and dips. I don't really know. All right, so I ended up going with a giant snack plate with some celery, some carrots, snap peas, some green bell peppers, along with mini peppers, a big old scoop of kidney beans, some vegan buffalo sauce that I get from Costco, a pluot that I got from my CSA box, which is a plum and apricot mixed, and then a fig, along with a handful of blueberries. This lunch was so good. It was just like a variety of a bunch of different things, and I enjoyed it outside with my husband on my porch. So tonight for dinner, we're going with a giant salad, and we're first going to prepare the tofu as our protein source, and then I got a little hungry, so I ate one with some chickenless seasoning on it. But I'm adding some apple cider vinegar along with coconut aminos, some nutritional yeast, like a lot of it, some turmeric, a little bit of chickenless seasoning, some onion powder, some garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and some pepper. Then I just mix it all together until it is thoroughly combined, and then I put it in my air fryer basket. Then I'll put it in the air fryer at 370 degrees for like 12 minutes and let it go until it is golden brown. Then I'm going to start with some vegetables. I chopped up some red onion and some mushrooms. Then I'm going to take them to the skillet and just saute them until they're nice and soft. Then I'll stir it together for a little bit before I add in a few of my garlic cloves along with some za'atar seasoning and then some salt and pepper. Then I'll stir it again until it is all nice and soft and combined. And then on the salad, I am adding a bunch of greens, my sauteed mushrooms and onions, some zucchini, some red onions, green peppers, celery, tomatoes, avocado, some little mini peppers, along with cucumbers, some apples, snap peas, crispy potatoes, and then my air fried tofu that was super crispy and golden and absolutely delicious. A pickle, some sauerkraut for some extra probiotic, and then some homemade hummus that I had left over, along with some gluten-free vegan pita bread on the side. These salads are so good and full of so many plants. I sat down and enjoyed them with my husband and probably told us some lame joke. Then I got distracted by my phone. I don't really know why. And for dessert, another leftover cupcake. Yum! So good. For breakfast, I made my go-to chocolate frosty smoothie and added some almond milk, soy milk, and water into my Vitamix, along with some chocolate vegan protein powder, some unsweetened cocoa powder, about 85 grams of frozen riced cauliflower, about 55 grams of frozen zucchini, and then like 110 grams of frozen papaya, and like 45 grams of banana, and then some ice cubes. Then I just blended that all together until it was a nice and thick smoothie because I love a thick smoothie bowl. And then I top it with some Love Grown Poweros and then some bomb drizzle that is cacao and sea salt that is unsweetened and so good. For lunch, I just had a bunch of leftovers, which was more sushi, salad from last night, and tofu from last night. It was super simple to just throw it all together and a really quick and easy meal. For dinner tonight, we're having a tofu rice and vegetable bowl with some peanut sauce, except for not peanut butter. It's made from sunflower seed butter. But for the tofu, I added some coconut aminos, rice vinegar, a lot of nutritional yeast, along with some umami seasoning from Trader Joe's, a little bit of salt, a little bit of onion powder, some garlic powder, and then I mixed it all together, put it in the air fryer, spread it out evenly so that it can get nice and crispy, and then put it in the air fryer at 370 degrees for about 12 minutes. Then I start on the vegetables, and I just used some frozen vegetables. That is the stir fry blend from Costco. I let the vegetables start to get soft before adding in the seasonings, and so I added in some umami seasoning first, a little bit of turmeric, some onion powder, garlic powder, some rice vinegar, and a little bit of coconut aminos. Then I'm just going to mix that all together until it is all combined. And then for the sauce, I added 2 tablespoons of sunflower seed butter into a bowl with 3 tablespoons of coconut aminos, 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, and then 2 cloves of garlic, some turmeric, umami seasoning, and black pepper, ginger, and then red pepper flakes. Then I just mix that all together until it is combined and smooth, and then it needed some more coconut aminos, so I added some. Then to our plates, I added some basmati rice, the vegetables that I just made, and then the air fried tofu that is nice and crispy. Then I just drizzled it with the sun butter sauce, and they look so good. Then I also sprinkled it with some chili flakes, and then me and my husband enjoyed it with our LaCroix. And since I never miss dessert, we're having some black bean brownies, except for I made them with kidney beans. So 1 cup of kidney beans, 1/4 cup of oats, and then 2 heaping tablespoons of unsweetened applesauce, 1 scoop of chocolate vegan protein powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, a little sprinkle of some salt, 1/2 cup of baking cocoa, and then 1 spotty banana for some added sweetness, along with 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then I just blend that all together until it is fully combined, and then I also add in some aquafaba so that it can blend a little bit better and then bind a little bit better in the baking process. Then I just put it in this little skillet, sprinkle in a couple chocolate chips, and then I put it in the oven at 350 degrees for like 15 minutes. Top it with some banana nice cream and share it with my husband. For breakfast, I had the same exact smoothie as the day before because this is literally my favorite smoothie bowl ever, and it's like absolutely delicious. Lunch was super quick and easy. I just had mashed chickpea and avocado, which was like 35 grams of avocado, and then I added in about 50 grams of chickpeas. Then I just mashed it all together until they were combined and uniform, and then I added in my seasonings, which was some nutritional yeast, garlic powder, a little bit of salt, and then I just mashed that all together, mixed it all up until it was fully combined, and then put it on top of my thin little rice cake. The thin ones are my favorite because they're super crisp and small, and then I added on some freshly chopped cilantro because it adds extra flavor and it's so good. I also added some extra black pepper on the top too for extra flavoring, and then I ended up having it with a bunch of fruits and vegetables as well. For dinner tonight, I'm making red lentil curry, and I'm pretty much just using all the vegetables in my fridge that need to be used before they go bad. So I'm chopping 1 whole yellow onion along with 1 serrano pepper, and then I'm going to grate some ginger, about 2 inches of it, because using fresh ginger in your curry will make all of the difference. Trust me, it's so good that way. And then about 4 cloves of minced garlic, and then I'm going to begin prepping all of the rest of my ingredients. So I'm chopping up some mushrooms along with some fairy tale eggplants that I got from my CSA box, and then some green peppers. For the spices, I use 2 teaspoons of curry powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and then 1/2 teaspoon of Indian chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of coriander, 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric, 2 teaspoons of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of salt, and some pepper. I heated up my Dutch oven over medium-high heat and then added in some water before adding in the onion, pepper, garlic, and ginger. I sauteed that all together until it was soft for about 5 minutes, and then added in the spices and seasoning. So I mixed that together for about a minute, adding water as needed to scrape up the bottom. Then I added in the rest of the vegetables, and then I sauteed all of those until they were nice and soft as well. Then I added in 2 cups of vegetable broth along with 1.5 cups of red lentils, and then 1 large each can of diced tomatoes, which is about 38 ounces. So then I mixed it all together and then scraped up the brown bits at the bottom, placed a lid on top, and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. After it simmered, I added in 1 full can of full fat coconut milk and then 3 tablespoons of almond butter. And the almond butter makes it super rich and creamy, and I learned that from Rainbow Plant Life, and I will never go back when I make my curries now. It is so good. So then I just mixed it all together, and then I realized it needed more seasonings of literally every single one, so I added in more. Then I added in juice from 1 lemon, added 1 cup of chopped cilantro, and then I mixed it together. I took it off the heat, added it to a bowl with some basmati rice, and then I also added in some unsweetened plain coconut yogurt to the top for extra flavor, along with some more chopped cilantro. It was super good, very creamy and delicious, like literally one of my favorite go-to meals. For dessert, I had the same brownie as last night because I had some leftover brownie batter, and I make this quite often, so I ate this a lot. It was really good though. For breakfast, I had this same smoothie again. Shocker there. This is really just honestly my all-time favorite smoothie, and I eat it literally every day because it's so good. For lunch, I just had some leftovers, which was sun-dried tomato and broccolini pasta. I just put it on a plate and then heated it up in the microwave. Then I sprinkled it with some vegan Parmesan cheese, and then I devoured it. It was so good for the second time. For dinner, I made some red lentil bolognese, so I went ahead and boiled some chickpea pasta, and then to a skillet, I added some chopped mushrooms and chopped onions. I also added in about 6 cloves of garlic, mixed that all together, and this will act as a part of the base. I then added in some celery and carrots, and then I added in some oregano, smoked paprika, garlic powder, some salt, a little bit of pepper, some red chili flakes. Then I added in half a cup of red wine, and I like to add this to my bolognese for a richer and deeper flavor. And then I let it simmer until all of the liquid evaporates. Then I have some crumbled up tempeh, and then I'm just going to add that into the bolognese and then mix it all together so that it can have some seasoning as well. Then I add in my homemade marinara sauce. Then I added in about half a cup of nutritional yeast to make it extra cheesy and give it some more flavor. And then about half a cup of some chopped fresh parsley. When it's done, I take it off the heat and then add it on top of the chickpea noodles, along with some vegan Parmesan cheese that I made, and then some more fresh parsley on top as well, along with some red pepper flakes. Me and my husband really enjoyed this pasta dish. It is one of our all-time faves as well. Then for dessert, I had this same brownies with nice cream that I've had both nights before. Clearly, I really love this dessert. If you want more vegan desserts, click the video on the screen right now and I'll show you how to make some of my favorite vegan desserts in the air fryer. Give that a click and I'll see you in the next video.